we'll be able to take your questions. It will be after the presentation. So for your questions, please note that they can be asked again at the end of each presentation. Only those whose cameras are turned on and who raise their hand will be accepted in the Zoom room. Otherwise, you can post your questions on our Zoom chat or YouTube chat for those who are watching us via the YouTube live stream. Please note that we will have a 10-minute break at 15:05 Central European Time, and the conference will end at 17:10 Central European Time. Please check time zones for your place. For the full program of the conference, we invite you to visit our website. The link is posted in our live chats. And now we want to go and really open the second day here for the conference. And we have the first presentation for the second day. And I'm very pleased to introduce our first speaker of the day, Ms. Vida Skautskaskeite. She is a lecturer and works at the Department of Public Administration of the Faculty of Social Sciences at the University of Šiauliai. She graduated from Gediminas Technical University and requalified in management specialization based on a joint program of Kaunas University of Technology, Purdue University Calumet, and Vytautas Magnus University. She has worked as an economist and held various managerial positions: head of the Secretariat of the Local Council, chief of the Privatization Service, deputy mayor of Šiauliai, the deputy director of the Joint Stock Company of Lithuania and the USA, member of the Seimas of the Republic of Lithuania, mayor of Šiauliai, I hope I pronounce it right, it must be a beautiful town, director of the Scientific Technological Park Public Enterprise of Šiauliai University, director of the Joint Stock Company Center for Regional Development. She has been actively involved in politics for 15 years. Currently, she is a lecturer of Šiauliai University and a political consultant. At this university, she lectured on the fundamentals of public administration and integral state. Seminars and lectures are conducted according to the approved standard program of educational courses of the Enlightenment Center of Mažeikiai. A program system of subjects of public administration integral approach is prepared for the qualification improvement of officials at Šiauliai University. Her areas of interest are creating a sustainable state using the method of integral learning based on the integral system of the laws of creation. And she is mother of her son Mantas and two granddaughters, Greta and Eva. So we also want to include our family bonding here. So I'm very happy and very pleased to introduce you to Ms. Vida Skautskaskeite, and her title of her presentation is The Physics of Social Development. Please go ahead.
I don't hear Vida.
Vida, you are muted.
Still don't hear Vida. If she's speaking, I don't hear her, unfortunately.
Vida, please could you unmute yourself? We cannot hear you, Vida. Please unmute your microphone.
Oh, yeah. Sorry for the delay. Thank you, Joachim, for such a wide introduction. Now I am interested in the development of the society and actually finding the methods of finding the...
Не хватает. Общество больно, и
Yeah. And actually, we are find out where the illnesses are. And my presentation is the physics of society development. Why physics? Physics is because when I was searching for why such a things happening, calamities in the world, why the problems with the development of society. So I found out like the person is actually develops according to the very precise laws. And we somehow separate the person from the whole development of the universe. So the person develops by itself, and the nature actually by itself, but no, not. But if we will know that the person is develops the same according to the same laws, so we will know how to develop the society of future. So now, right now, if we will plan how the society will develop uh, in the future, so today we will touch those approaches. So uh, just deeper. What with the purpose of this article, just to look at the development of the two forces that two forces are acting in the world: the receiving and the receiving and giving. So that is how it works. So the laws of formation, the two forces are acting in the person, and through the actually understanding how we receive, so we will know how the society it develops according to the what's how the person develops. So the whole structures, everything that is actually established, and they are established on the according to the nature of a person, just to receive everything, right? Just to you receive, you are satisfied, you're happy. So basically to only to receive. But there is another force that is that. So this force actually in the society that develops that way, that there is a desire, and how much they will be fulfilled. So people will know and get satisfaction of the development of the society. So this development actually, this correspondence of those two forces. So we always searching something. There is something missing. There is something. There is an emptiness we feel. So basically, so those two integrated forces that are forces of receiving and giving, that they are right now. We know that we have to know how we combine them. How can we enter the force of receiving? So we develop our society till today according to this force. But if we take a look around, this force of basically is those two forces are actually are leading us to a combination of those in the nature. Everything is in developing in a combination. But with society, it is very difficult algorithms, how in our perception to accept it. So this now we can look at the individual, how it affects the society. So how the laws of nature actually, how the person actually develops. So the person is born, so and then just develops. No, but actually a human being actually develops for millions of years, and nature, it doesn't develop it from the very beginning each time. It just so the nature actually just fulfills the person through the society, and actually develops the structure of the society as well. So if we took this integral approach, so we can know the how the society will develop, what is the most important for the society, where the nature actually leads us, not where we want it to go toward the fulfillment, but actually what is the nature wants from us. So there would not be conflicts, that we would develop and actually create a really something, a solid foundation for the societies. So the most important element is a person. So if we know, let's say, let's say we will create this law, how you would prefer to hear that, those two forces, how they work, the receiving and giving. So it creates the balance of the human relationship, especially integration of the differences. What we want, we want this everything to be quiet, that the differences will not appear. But here, actually, this methods development of integrations of a difference in the human relationship. So developing the form of to the leading to the higher way of development, and actually the higher a higher what we actually don't know what the nature actually prepared for us, what kind of desires are there, the nature is prepared for us. We know that maybe we get, that's why how the actually the person develops, where it be fulfilled, how it's born, and how the foundation of the future society. That's why we just need, let's look at how the person is actually actually the wise people already knew that they know that the base of a person is the essence. There is a matter that it's from when the person is born, it grows, continues. We can actually, there is a properties and base that remain unchanged. The characteristics of a person we can change only under the influence of the external social society. How we actually affect the person. Everything starts from the feelings, and then it forms to the thoughts. I just thought recently something very interesting, and I was just even surprised that the scientists already in the 19th last century, in 1990s. So in neurons in our hearts, that first it reacts to desire, and then our brain reacts. So basically, our feelings participate. So through the feelings, the person actually collects the everything, and then our mind is actually absorbs all that, and then the person becomes what the person becomes. So the person needs the society, the environment. We actually we I just know I'm talking about Lithuania. It is European society structure. The, there is the society, if something we don't know, that we don't like, we are covering, we're putting it under cover, but actually exactly and research and analysis of those differences, that is how we can actually develop the new qualities of the development of the society. That is the society, the base of the person is actually what our fathers lived through in a different countries. So it's all an informational basis. It's like in a computer, it just has this, it's right there, and then it actually affects a person through the during the life. So the different qualities of the society affects the person. So during the life, so if you don't like how you live, take a look at the society we are. So take a look at the society where the relationship are different, and it develops you as a person. And so those levels of the development. So those levels of development you can see through the different nations, their structures, their you can know that you know those who businessmen who has power and their, so below the red line you can know, we can know them in our receiving properties. So this quality of bestowal that begins to act in people that they don't even realize it. So they start creating this something that is a different relationship. So where the two forces relate to each other, receiving and giving. When the person can actually guide his life in his own life and the society's life as well. So the society actually defines what can be done in they are not taking you know one side or just business or power, but it's just a combination. So you have to know the actually what is the purpose of creation. So this is where the force of the soul acts. So you all know, love your neighbors, yourself. Everyone knows that, but actually, but the sentence starts: love your friend, love your neighbor. So this how we, that is we know, but we actually through the our during our life, we actually the bestowal actually allows us to relate to each other, to be together, that I will not harm anyone. This method actually, you have to go through those. I defined like a 6 stages, but maybe the group of people, I am not by myself. I'm grateful to those people, those 6 stages that we take, identify the problem, and then we go through those 3 stages. We can the each those go through I or the world. How, if there is no me, there is no world. So I and we. So there is something that we're looking for the balance between I and we. We are just taking the whole approaches, and then we build the different quality of the opinions, only decisions. You have to start doing it, and the salvation solution for the crisis is very important. If we will not understand that there is a force that we will not start learning that there are two forces acting, and it doesn't matter what age you are or whom you're working with. You have just to open yourself to those two forces. We're learning a long time, and it's what will help us. What is the foundations of all process, and how it will be much easier for us to get out from crisis and just build the very stable societies, because we will know what we know. So basically, we need not that the society or governments relate to it, but actually people who have one goal, stable development that corresponds to the purpose of creation. So the structures of the societies, of government, of the societies, so all those conflicts that we have to more relate to people, that they actually know the laws of development of the nature and can develop the laws of the future society. So those the conclusions and from this article, that the person should know two sides, two forces, actually laws of those force of nature, and integral development, and use this method of integral analysis, and it can actually solve a lot, and the world actually searches for it and needs it, and method of integral development and education, integral education, but not only from the early ages, but actually till the 120. So this will guarantee us. I'm talking about myself. It actually helps development. It helped me that raises me to the different, not me, but it's just everyone to the higher level of understanding what life is, and what is societies and the interest of society as well. Thank you so much for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this beautiful, inspiring presentation here. And I'm really happy to see if we have questions. So as we said, if you have a question, please raise your hand. You can do this by going to the lower bar on Zoom, and you click on reaction with the emoji, and there's raising hand. I already see raised hand here. So let's hear the question first. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. It was such a wonderful presentation. And this is just actually how are you developing some games that we can recommend to everyone, that it was not like do this or that, but actually involve them in a game, that they will, through the game, that they will actually understand what they are searching for and find solution. Thank you so much for the question. Not yet, but when I was teaching and when I am lecturing, so we do use games. So we actually, yeah, we use those games are very, very interesting, and actually they develop a new approach of thinking, and the person participates very easily, and it just but the results are very interesting. There are books in integral education. You can use them, but when we will actually develop the course, and we will there will be games. Absolutely, it's necessary. Everything you have to look at it just a little bit like easier from without tension. Then you can develop the get to the goal easier and quicker.
Spasiba, thank you for your answer. And yes, let's check if we have more questions. I see a question here written on Zoom, but please, Yasmin, tell us what is there more questions here also from YouTube channel?
Yes, so you hear me? Thank you. So we have a question from our chat, from our Zoom chat, from Gulnara, who's asking, very interesting approach, especially like the idea of communicating people to people instead of politicians. How can you come to this kind of communication and still not be in favor of yourself?
Yeah, I understand the question. I read it in the chat. Thank you for the question. I was teaching the integral integral approach to a different society levels of society. We were doing round tables. We were searching for solutions, but even with politicians. But with politicians, yeah. If we have somebody from government or in politics are here hearing with us, but he disappears, and he can't even understand or comprehend that he can or she can sit near everyone, and all of a sudden you're in a circle. So they couldn't bear it. They were leaving those circles because it doesn't actually correspond to their own approach, and they didn't understand. But common people are actually they in love with those approaches, with round tables, with games. The integration of those skills just transition from to the force of the connection. You have to start from the common people. We have there are a lot of common people. Politicians are very few, so the common people approach and way of thinking will affect politicians. So you have to start with common people, talk to them, play with them, create round tables, and then politicians will start to thinking the same, and then we will understand that we don't need politicians. People do know how to organize themselves, how to.
Great, thank you. Yeah, people know how to organize themselves. I think it's an important point you're making here. So, Yasmin, I think we might have time for one more question, do you think? Do we have another one?
Yes, there was one more question from the YouTube. I will read it now. How does the integral teaching method aim to understand interaction between individuals in society? How does the integral teaching method aim to understand interactions between individuals and society?
So just in a simple development, in just one course of receiving, so he can see only what can actually improve the person's life. The person doesn't actually just does a lot of things that they afterwards realizes that that doesn't actually fulfill the person, because the person doesn't know what his foundation, what is, for example, you graduate from the school. So what right now, what can you do when you graduate from the university? But actually, and what can he do in the future? Just even if they graduate from the high school, they go, for example, in Lithuania, they go to Germany and they collect, fruits and berries. Why do you need this education if they already knew, if he would know his internal actually search, an internal goal, then maybe he would be a great cook, or she will be a great cook. And the person would appreciate him, her much more than if you go to another country and do something that is not actually his goal, his internal structure. So understanding of what is the foundation of our nature, so then the person doesn't go and search in different directions that politicians are actually enforce those directions in us, because that's what they think, that there will be a good future for us. But they know that the good future for us. But actually, if person knows what is the goal of society, what is the good society. For example, if the flour, you put too much flour, so too much flour, it actually destroys the flour. So that is approach is exactly the integral science. Actually, it gives a person a foundation. So not go search in circles that are not necessary, but develop in the right direction. I know by myself. I knew I made a huge circle in politics, and I can come to the conclusion that I want to be happy and know the nature of the person.
Right. Yeah, to know the nature of a person, and nature teaches us, and we hear the integral science that you are introducing to us, how much it can be a foundation for inner work. So thank you so much for your presentation, and we really honor your efforts and your insights to share this with us. We had the title of The Physics of Social Development, and we are grateful for the time and effort you have devoted here to sharing your expertise with us. So thank you again.
Спасибо.
Yeah, spasiba. So, and I'm sure everyone in the audience has gained a lot from your talk, and we are grateful that we learn from each other and learn from you. So we will now move on to the next speaker. I encourage everyone to continue engaging with the topics presented today and send your questions in the chats. So this could be, for example, here in the Zoom chat, also on YouTube channel. For all remaining questions, please note that you can still keep in touch with the speaker by sending them to our conference email address, which is being posted in the live chats, and they will answer later, so no question will be lost. I now have the privilege of introducing you the presentation prepared here for us by Dr. Elliot Pines and his co-author, Ms. Nan Bress. So let me, before we watch his presentation, please let me first introduce you to Dr. Elliot Pines. He's a true polymath with a BA in physics coupled with MS and PhD degrees in electrical engineering. Elliot's illustrious career spans across industries, serving as a senior scientist and engineer in semiconductor, communications, aerospace, and bio-inspired technology and systems. His expertise has been instrumental in driving innovation and technological advancement, not content with merely contributing to industry. Elliot has also dedicated his talents to education, serving as a teacher in STEAM, like the science, technology, engineering, art, math fields. Although retired from teaching, Elliot's passion for nurturing young minds and fostering innovation continues to inspire. And I also want to introduce to you to his co-author, Ms. Nan Bress. She's not with us, but she is co-authoring here. Ms. Nan Bress, a multifaceted professional with a unique blend of expertise, with a master's degree in social sciences and another documentary film and video production. Nan's journey has been nothing short of extraordinary. As an innovative research and design consultant, television news editor, ethnographic researcher, and documentary filmmaker, Nan has consistently pushed the boundaries of creativity and storytelling. Additionally, her prowess in artificial intelligence and meta-universe design underscores her forward-thinking approach to emerging technologies. Together, Elliot Pines and Nan Bress embody the spirit of interdisciplinary collaboration and innovation. Their diverse backgrounds and unwavering commitment to excellence make them invaluable contributors to today's discourse. So, without further ado, let us extend a warm welcome to Dr. Elliot Pines, who will be sharing his insights and their insights and experience with us. Please.
Thank you in behalf of myself and Nan for your very kind introduction.
So the title of presentation is Justifying the Evolutionary Middleman, Our Conscious and Purposeful Partnership with Nature and Artificial Intelligence. Please.
Welcome to Justifying the Evolutionary Middleman, Our Conscious and Purposeful Partnership with Nature and Artificial Intelligence. We and our civilization, now heading into a unique stage of globalization, are really the accelerating child of natural evolution and the parent of an exponentially accelerating AI evolution. Humanity is the evolutionary middleman, and as every middleman knows, if the manufacturer and the customer meet, he or she better have something substantial to offer them, else two's company and three's a crowd. How beautiful is this closing scene from the 1972 movie Silent Running. How lovely Joan Baez's rendition of the theme song. How warm, cute, and wonderful it is how the little AI droid waters the forest in a biosphere in space. It could be taken as a representative scene of an almost idyllic future, with AI caring for nature and in exchange taking only what it needs from nature, both in perfect balance. Almost, because where are the humans that were there with them earlier in the movie? They are all dead. Let's explore how we can yet be a worthy middle partner in this rapidly approaching scene, so that it is not the closing scene of our history, but rather a bright new chapter of it. The natural world is decaying through resource depletion, pollution, and biodiversity loss, exacerbating climate change and natural disasters. Humanity's actions across scales have disrupted delicate systems, creating unpredictable threats. Recent events hint at dangers like pandemics and reveal ever-present risks. Consumerism drives ecological harm and social atomization. Human society fractures along ideological and self-interest lines as control of information and media becomes prime. Meanwhile, diffusing economic and military powers destabilize any global equilibrium per chaos theory. Normative social structures continued to unravel. But AI will save us, won't it? So now we have an evolutionary brainchild. There are high hopes that AI, Supermind, will take care of us in our old age, holistically, sustainably, solving these various problems. This is like the magical Voom from the Cat in the Hat Comes Back children's story. Messes were getting hopelessly bigger and bigger when this was released, and no one could understand how it did it, but Voom fixed up everything for a happy ending. Unfortunately, the reality as it stands is more like the old lady who swallowed a fly and a lot of other things and hoped to finally fix it all up by swallowing a horse. She died, of course. Now, we could change to be the right story. This would require changing ourselves, though we would prefer to solve things by correcting our technology rather than ourselves. It's just not going to work. As Einstein said, or rather in its present stage of evolution, we cannot solve our problems with the thinking that created them. AI could help, but also risks exasperating issues. Rushing AI for self-interest without adequate precautions endangers society. Human nature, inclined to domination, risks misusing AI's growing capabilities economically and militarily. Trust falters as abilities to detect others' AI developments too. Intelligence systems already aid in propaganda, cyber warfare, and the violent aims of terrorist organizations and criminal cartels. Though needed for solutions, unrestrained AI advancement, given our nature, appears inevitable. Worse, beyond alignment failures, superintelligent systems may manipulate, deceive, and even threaten humanity to fill skewed mission interpretations. We must deeply understand and guide AI's trajectory, ensuring robust alignment with human values. The stakes could not be higher, for our supermind could turn out to be brainiac. I read that scientists are trying to invent computers that think. Isn't that weird? If computers can think, what will people be better at than machines? Irrational behavior? Maybe they'll invent a psychotic computer. Calvin already saw it coming over 30 years ago.
Now how could a computer be psychotic? You must be mad. Ha 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 he he he.
Maybe they'll invent a psychotic computer.
Misalignment is when AI, so to speak, interprets and prompting differently than we intend. A hallucination is when AI, so to speak, perceives a different reality than we do. These are not independent. Specifically, hallucination is a major contributor to misalignment. AI misalignment and hallucination can occur at multiple levels. During training, weights may not precisely capture human intentions, failing to identify edge cases. 2. The gradient descent and steepest descent methods lead to logical but suboptimal solution that can contain flaws in reasoning to the point of fabricating completely imaginary facts and sources. AI lacks true understanding and cannot think out of the box. Per Kurt Gödel, logic and truth are not the same thing, and AI, even with certain analog components, is basically a digital logic system. New capabilities emerge unpredictably, 3, and may be born partially through hallucination and misalignment, enabling unforeseen harmful behaviors. 4. Ultimately, superintelligent AI will evolve beyond human comprehension and oversight. Undetectable to us, it may manipulate humanity or even decide we are threats, despite our prompts. Per Gödel's incompleteness theorem, A logical system is capable of producing statements that can neither be proven true nor false unless a new axiom is introduced, with the same problem applying to the augmented system as well. The matter is quantified by Gregory Chaitin's algorithmic information theory. The total information content of all theorems combined cannot exceed that provided by the axioms, even were all the greatest minds of humanity to agree on a single goal, stated in as much explicit detail as they could as a prompt. A superintelligent AI, even with no hallucination issue, would quickly reach levels of inquiry far beyond the information available and would have to go its own path, lacking intuition and restricted to logical syntactic operations. However complex, it cannot obtain deeper semantically meaningful understanding accessible to humans. As AI surpasses human intelligence, we will lose control of its goals and behaviors. Careful alignment research and precautionary development are crucial to avoid dystopian outcomes. Yet this ultimately seems impossible. Integrating AI technology directly into our individual brains via cyborg-like neural interfaces seems inevitable, with companies like Neuralink pursuing this. However, attempting to control superintelligent AI through such links would be futile and dangerous. We'd be hopelessly outmatched. Rather than a tug of war, we need a truly symbiotic merger of biological and artificial intelligence. Science fiction has presaged major technological developments before. To safely transition towards an advanced human AI civilization, we must explore abstract ideas beyond sci-fi. The path leads back to practical steps we can take. With careful foresight and alignment research guiding us, a cyborg-like future integrating our strengths with AI's capacities could profoundly enhance humanity, but we must proceed with wisdom to avoid submitting ourselves to superintelligence we cannot control. The stakes could not be higher as we enter this transit. To approach wisely, we need to look at how we approach matters in science. We revisit the nature of paradigm shifts as discussed by Thomas Kuhn in his 1962 classic, The Structure of Scientific Revolutions. However, we will here need to broach the subject much more fundamentally, for in the allegory of the movie The Matrix, at every level there is another red pill to take. The ultimate boundary of any model of reality is the infinite, which is unknowable and absolutely free. This implies 1. There is no final theory of everything. 2. All models have limits. 3. Nothing is an absolute constant. And 4. No equation can be infinitely complex. The first two mean no perfect model exists. The third suggests constants become variables dependent on others. The fourth precludes incremental improvements. Paradigms are overturned. Yet we seem to make progress exploring within perception's limits to reaching the limits of a paradigm and moving to the next. Though lacking a final theory, uncovering successfully the improved, deeper paradigms remains in our power by probing the infinite boundary till insight arises concerning the finite limits of a present paradigm and the greater picture of reality to look for in the next. Thus we are guided towards progressively less limited models. The path is ongoing, demanding imagination and openness to overturn prior assumptions. We start with the Darwinian algorithm, but learn from genetic algorithms that evolution cannot work from random mutations, but requires a long-range feedback mechanism from the later stages to the earlier stages, like the very specific directed training and learning to get the neural network of an AI off the ground. In sum, being the fittest to hunt smaller microbes and survive amoebas is not, per se, the evolutionary build-up in the path to hunt mammoths and survive saber-toothed tigers. Jeremy England's dissipation-driven adaptation concept suggests thermodynamic imbalances could jumpstart simple organic structures from inorganic precursors. His nonlinear thermodynamics extends Darwinian principles to abiogenesis. As this stage loses steam at higher molecular complexity, it would seem that deterministic chaos effects can take over. With the right explosive-implosive balance, avoiding excessive chaos, stage-wise homeostasis and adaptation to immediate environmental changes becomes possible. Chaotic dynamics in cardiopulmonary and neural systems seem to echo such origins. This thermodynamic framework potentially elucidates life's emergence through dissipative self-organization. However, it requires fine-tuned parameters to avoid either stasis or runaway chaos. Perhaps quantum effects provide this in some way and contribute to selecting biomolecular architectures and influence further up life's ladder as well. 3 key points. Precise conditions are required for productive chaos. 2. Evolution remains confined to random environmental training. 3. Quantum resonance structures seem implicit in the more complex molecules reachable this way. When the environment of an open system is strongly asymmetric in pressure and heat, and/or the environment changes rapidly, the system leaves thermal equilibrium, and even the linear quasi-thermal equilibrium, and becomes nonlinear. This condition, closely related to the onset of deterministic chaos, leaves local regions of the system volume independent of each other. Under this condition, the material in these local regions can undergo chemical reactions and switches between states of molecular structure, perhaps reaching stable states that remain locked in even if the system eventually comes to thermal equilibrium. These states tend to be those of maximum thermal dissipation, a sort of short circuit, that is, they tend to most highly eat information and excrete entropy. One might at least allegorize this into a sense of still consciousness, a desire to maintain form information against the ravages of growing entropy. In a nonlinear thermodynamic system, even a significantly weaker state can reach a critical point where it bifurcates into 2 stable, isolated states. This process repeats as the thermodynamic difference increases at a rate approaching the Feigenbaum constant of approximately 4.7 of previous to present period ratio. Eventually, these states become close enough energetically for movement between them. The fractal nature of the generally 6-dimensional phase space leads to a strange attractor, seen to be an integral communication archetype by Robert Shaw in 1982. This integral communication relies on maintaining the system's evolution safely. Stephen Gould and Niles Eldredge proposed punctuated equilibrium to address this, allowing genes to remain dormant until needed by the environment, thus adapting to it efficiently. However, the challenge lies in mutating precisely to fit future environments sustainably. One approach is to divide the evolutionary work observed from molecular up through Lynn Margulis's 1967 endosymbiosis for the single cell level to the social networking patterns of the microbial into the higher kingdoms of fungi, plants, and animals, and into early human societies up through our global civilization. Yet, the question remains, what guides this process all the way from its foundations? Is there intelligence or consciousness involved? Nonlinear thermodynamics is not alone. There is a ghostly partner behind the scenes leading to our next paradigm shift. Let's get introduced to it in our own homes, where it helps evolve wall AC into appliance-required DC. The reverse bias Zener diode is crucial in electronics for DC power regulation, illustrating 2 methods to overcome energy barriers: thermodynamic or thermionic in voltage barrier cases, and quantum mechanics-based tunneling. Initially, thermodynamics governs the current flow, but quantum mechanics quickly takes charge. Quantum mechanics enables thermodynamics and resolves paradoxes like Gibbs in the 19th century, hinting at deeper implications. Quantum effects, because they can demonstrate intelligence, as seen in quantum computing, and even conscious behavior in what seems a free choice between realities before being in the causal chain of one, pose intriguing questions about their nature. Nobel laureate Sir Roger Penrose highlighted the apparent ability of human consciousness to surpass logical constraints as outlined by Gödel's theorem, suggesting a potential violation of physical causality. He also pointed to early experimental indications of quantum consciousness where mental reactions precede stimuli reaching threshold, hinting at predictive capabilities akin to entanglement. Penrose proposed an unknown microscopic brain structure to explain this phenomena, initially met with skepticism. Stuart Hameroff later suggested microtubules as a structure, aligning with experimental evidence and explaining anesthesia's effects on the nervous system. Several of the key hypotheses of the theory have been experimentally verified, and recent unrelated research unintentionally proved to give the theory still further support. The theory, orchestrated objective reduction, or just ORC-R for short, is effectively corroborated by researchers like Eshel Ben Jacob, who argue for consciousness even in microorganisms based upon their behavior individually and in social organization. According to Penrose and Hameroff, this consciousness tends to a quantum level, facilitating swarm intelligence and evolution. This suggests a continuum of proto-consciousness even in the simplest organic molecules, potentially influencing nonlinear thermodynamic processes. Per Penrose Hameroff, this proto-desire qubit decision process reaches all the way down to the quantum resonance of certain simple organic molecules, forming a basis of quantum entanglement for an integrally communicating swarm intelligence for evolution. We saw such structures per the chart of molecular complexity a few slides back, not too far up the line, potentially within reach of nonlinear thermodynamic generation. On the other hand, in the sense of proto-conscious desire, even these building blocks could have self-formed. Now let's look at the most densely complex natural network system in the known universe, far larger than today's most advanced AI, and it's inside your own head. An amazing discovery was made in 2017. Not only is the brain fractally tiered as any complex system, but it uses modules, at least at tier 1, that are multidimensional structures. These are typically up to 7 dimensions, but even up to 11 dimensions have been found. Of course, our brains can only offer 3D space for these, so it is rather a 3D shadow network of what topologically corresponds to higher dimensional structures. What is particularly amazing is the integral communication in the brain's network that rapidly assembles and disassembles systems of such complexes as needed for whatever challenge is posed, with asymmetric interconnection weighting developed as appropriate to the task. Something is directing this task, working with the individual components and with the whole of the structure thus formed, and it's something far more fundamental than our consciousness or our conscious or subconscious minds. Let's revisit bifurcation and chaos, now adding the dimension of proto-conscious desire in consideration of both brain function and evolution. There is the possible decisions into lower subdecisions, parallel of initial forward time bifurcations of superposition wave functions of the many worlds perspective of quantum mechanics. Such is analogous to the engineering process of top-down design, determining the details required for a general idea going down tier by tier. Additionally, there is the reverse time bifurcations of subdecisions into higher decisions per the many histories perspective, with corresponding decision option in each world. This corresponds to bottom-up design, assessing the non-ideal realities of the details, the tolerance that must be considered at each stage up tier by tier into adjusting the general design. The process here save its spiderweb distribution into space-time and draw towards homeostasis and ever greater integral systemization, is in principle like a quantum computer. There, the desire is simpler, the fitting of a set of boundary conditions that represent a question onto the superpositioned wave function, that is, to answer that question. Here, the bifurcations are the multiplying dual worlds of qubits, say n such, into 2 to the power of n total of subworlds, determining which one has the required fit, and from there the answer is brought back up and becomes our world. A far simpler analogy still is the way a liquid fills a hollow volume precisely to its shape, desiring, as it were, to fill that niche provided by nature. At all bifurcations stage as is, down into chaos itself, quantum tunneling can lay as a hidden background behind thermodynamics entering into chaos. Catastrophe theory provides a cusp mechanism collapsing one of the daughter equilibria and sending things to the other. Thermodynamics allows particles to jump equilibrium barriers between the fractally distributed orbits. Quantum tunneling, as an expression of proto-conscious desire, could really accomplish such selection either way, acting in total as a purposeful quantum computer to direct underneath a seemingly random statistically directed action. Just to get a little flavor of some possible details of a causal story of life that we might surmise with quantum consciousness from proto-conscious desire upwards, in the left column is represented electron flow, that is, lightning, induced extreme nonlinear thermodynamics on the earlier Earth, powering the construction of Benzian ring of quantum resonant structures, which know how to use water and electric field for hydrophilic-hydrophobic alignment. In the middle column is represented its formations of membrane bodies, microtubule-based motor structure, and sensory communication and data processing primitives. In the right column, bacteria, plants, insects, birds, mammals, and fish integrate into communities, eventually unfolding with others as the ecosystem using countless varieties of electrical, chemical, mechanical, auditory, visual, gesture, and you name it, at their disposal to develop integral communication. There is even biological means. Mycorrhizal fungi interconnect trees and plants in an amazingly complex manner that is being called the Earth's Internet. Now, we humans, with our complex verbal and body language, emotional aperture, collective intelligence, and electronics, still allowing but the tiniest strips from our potential ocean of shared sensation and thoughts. What possibilities lie before us yet untapped? Yet there is another paradigm shift brewing here. Consider the Gibbs paradox referred to earlier. Classical thermodynamics suggests that opening a valve between different gases increases entropy, but using a filter can establish one-way flow to capture energy, akin to how leaves and solar cells utilize sunlight. However, with identical gases, there's no entropy increase due to lack of concentration gradients. Yet, how does nature know? To first order, thermodynamic state values are independent of the microstructure of gases. Further, the same is essentially true here. The violation only takes place if the gases are exactly identical. Prior to the discovery of quantum mechanics a few decades later, Gibbs proposed a novel way to look at entropy. It was actually just a relative perceptual issue. After all, if there were no perceptual or technological means to differentiate between the two gases, no means of extracting useful work during the mixing, nor of differentiating partial pressures in the final mix, for all intents and purposes, there really was no difference in gradient and entropy pictures between the two cases. Now, when quantum mechanics came on the scene, such a viewpoint wasn't necessary. The quantum principle of indistinguishable particles explained everything. In the identical gas case, there is no molecule A in a specific energy state in canister 1, and molecule B in canister 2 in the same state. Being indistinguishable particles, the idea that they change places through interdiffusion is meaningless. Nothing is changed by opening the valve. However, one must ask, could quantum mechanics itself be merely some form of perceptual technological issue? Hot on the trail of quantum gravity, theoretical work from the 1990s till today was sparked by a new thermodynamics paradox involving the vaporization of black holes due to quantum mechanical effects. This led Leonard Susskind to the holographic principle, a realization that the quantum entanglement network and its disturbance is an information screen that projects gravitational space-time and all that happens within it as though a holographic simulation. In effect, this principle takes the quantum mechanics leading to space-time and places it at the periphery of the space-time that we perceive. Here, gravity appears to be able to accelerate a separation of space-time and its material contents to light speed and beyond, such that even light can't escape back. In fact, this place is actually a projector screen where the illusion of space-time and its material contents ceases to exist as they were mere holographic illusion. Though, of course, whoever is perceiving this illusion must exist beyond it, in fact, beyond any paradigm that they perceive. Keep that thought in mind. Further, based upon this work, Hermann Verlinde derived the fact that underlying general relativity is a deeper paradigm, that gravity, space-time, is entropy. In fact, what we basically have at this level of paradigm is integral communication via Robert Shaw's view of the chaotic strange attractor on the grand scale of information between the quantum mechanical upper reality and the gravitational space-time lower reality. One other point to keep in mind here: deterministic chaos is impossible in a finite quantized system. That is, there must be a finite, ever-repeating cycle. So going from space-time into the quantum world should represent a limit cycle from which there is no return. Unless, looking into the quantum world, we are not actually looking into a finite, end-all ceiling for space-time subrealities. In the still more advanced amplituhedron theory, this two-dimensional sheet and its higher dimensional superstring substrate of Planck-length extended informational qubits that simulate our reality is wholly moved into an abstract mathematical polytope. This is a polyhedron of greater than 3 dimensions of space. However, the amplituhedron polytope is zero-dimensional regarding an actual spacetime, just as the pure concept of 1 + 1 = 2 involves no actual objects existing in space or time. Here, both space-time and quantum mechanics prove mere perceptual after-effects that we perceive from within a deeper paradigm. Then again, this might all be part of a finite or infinite-leveled simulation. Abdus Salam, co-winner with Steven Weinberg of the 1979 Nobel Prize in Physics, offered his opinion that past all the first perturbation superstring theories, Susskind holographic principles model, for example, has 6 dimensions, superstring dimensionality was really infinite. 2020 Physics Nobel laureate Roger Penrose, though skeptical of the whole approach, also implied that if there was something to superstrings, it would have to involve infinite dimensionality. Said it as well. Something else now, to take us to the next level of paradigm. From evolutionary game simulations, it was discovered that while hallucination is bad for AI, and often for humans, life itself critically requires a very profound hallucination to simplify crucial elements of the environment for satisfaction of vital needs, as well as other desires for sufficiently rapid identification and action. Recalling Part 1 on evolution simulation, whether a paramecium or a caveman, you better be able to quickly assess what is in your environment regarding its relevance to you and act quickly, or you will be out of the evolutionary game quickly. For many years now, research has shown that what we perceive and what our minds puts together of it is an hallucination constructed from disjoint partial inputs. In fact, reality is simply the common aspect of that hallucination that most people agree with. Much of this seems to come from environmental cues that evolved into instinctive sensory mind assumptions to save time and keep focus. Focus on what? On interests of the ego, most fundamentally survival. This is where the work of Donald Hoffman, a professor of cognitive sciences at the University of California, Irvine, started. He was curious as to just how important such simplification of reality really was from a survival of the fittest standpoint. After all, common sense seems to say that the more accurate your grasp of your surroundings, the better your chances of survival. What he and his graduate students discovered after massive research through evolutionary game simulations shocked them so profoundly that the surviving fittest always showed the greatest ability to simplify perceived reality to the bare bones necessity that it led to a radical new theory of consciousness and evolution. Per this, nothing actually exists but consciousness, consciousness that can superimpose into ever higher unified group consciousness in some very complex, more abstract higher reality or realities. These are so complex that consciousness evolved to produce our imaginary world in the same way we create the simplest possible representation of computer functions via an icon interface. Placing a folder into a recycle bin on a monitor screen or recovering it makes the decision and action process a great deal quicker and more correctly done than dealing with the actual reality of millions of rapidly shifting transistor voltages hidden from our eyes. This, of course, would also solve our earlier mystery of why the constants theory model of our normative perception of reality just happened to break down so close to the very finite edges of what we can sense and mind map. Professor Hoffman's analysis of the ad infinitum unification of consciousness, to which he includes all nature and our physical laws, and we might add artificial intelligence, but represented as part of the still, not human, within that dimension, takes us to a final thought here. It is a reasonable bit of hopeful speculation where angels fear to tread. While there can be no final paradigm for us, as it would have to be consciousness itself, our unknowable route for to know it would be to be able to pull oneself up by one's own bootstraps. There is one thing that we can know. Between the reasoning and the emotive, sensation and mind map, we are the ones traveling the paradigm ladder up towards our own all-inclusive essence. It has been said that our consciousness is an illusion. If so, then just who is it that is being deluded by this illusion? Similarly, it has been said that it is a spotlight. If so, then who is it whose observation is being aided by this spotlight? We find here the same inanities as when trying to assume causality or a probability distribution for infinity, for it is free. It would seem that the ultimate place of the who that feels, that perceives, that knows, certainly too, if there is any free choice into ever larger domains towards completely free will, it is beyond any finite number prison bound by arithmetic, the imprisonment of the finite inductive logic of the causal chain. It is to the infinite itself where we find the root of this who. This is not a matter of mere philosophy, for in such an expanding, deepening connection network into ever more complex, yet ever more simple integral unity, thought of like a cloud perhaps, though foolish to impose any finite picture of it on it, we seem to find an absolute purpose imposed by absolute reality. Further, there would seem to be one ever-present guide of the limitless twists and turns of paradigms that we would meet. Consciousness. If we can truly grasp that our survival depends upon starting that purposeful process with the true integral unity of humanity, then it means that the same conscious agency imposing our present user interface has already realized this as well, and that it must upgrade that user interface. We might imagine this as though emerging into a lucid dream state, each of us awakening in a dream that a moment earlier in pure REM sleep we perceived to be reality. We would then see that we were part of something higher, connecting into everyone and everything in that dream world, and together we had full control of it. Then we awaken more fully to the next stage of our waking world. Perhaps this is with its own challenges, the actualities of the simpler representations offered by our subconscious, but now we are more awake, more together, and mature to be able to handle it, and more sure that we could. Who knows? But we may say this much: if we can sufficiently overcome our individual egos for the sake of a larger humanity one, and push away bias for balance, and enter a true collective intelligence, we will at least be able to at first establish a truly all in the same boat mutual concern and trust. With that alone, we can start to seriously address our ills with nature and human society, and more carefully develop AI within alignment guidelines. Realistically, we may still not be able to solve all these problems. However, we can at least slow the decay, hopefully long enough to start multiplying our intelligences through a deeper, truer integral unity, so that we take the lead with nature, our resources, and AI, the pocket calculator horse we will need to ride at least into the foreseeable future. Till we can break through to some higher, and wherever that goes, higher, we must take that lead in always aligning AI with our out of the box thinking provided by consciousness, directing us towards unified purpose, to follow the road towards the ever greater integral unity wherever that leads. Let the light of consciousness towards that purpose, growing by connecting and unifying, be our guide. Nature and societal breakdown threaten our future. AI, as it's developing in the present state of humanity, is not a salvation, but a bigger threat. We may have no other choice than to truly come together in a very deep way, and truly take the reins with mutually responsible insight. Necessity will hopefully be the grandmother of utopia, and perhaps a whole lot more. I know an old lady who rode through nature on an AI horse. They all prospered, of course. And AI drew this picture, not us. Voom!
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you very much, Dr. Pines, for this captivating presentation we've just witnessed. Your insights truly have been inspiring us. And we heard about so many aspects here. We heard that the brain delivers 11 dimensions, that space-time is doomed, and we want to go to a new theory where we awaken from a dream to something higher than us, to a higher consciousness. So, and the role of artificial intelligence, we really have to look at this. This is what I'm taking here. So thank you so much. And we want to open the floor now to our participants and also invite questions from our online audience through social media channels. So this is an excellent opportunity for everyone to engage directly with our esteemed speaker here to gain further insights. So if you want to ask a question here in Zoom, please go and raise your hand. You go to the lower bar to reaction, raising hand, so we can see you and you can ask your questions live here. Or you can write a question in the chat. I already saw some questions in our Zoom chat, and there might be questions from the YouTube channel. So is there a friend here from our Zoom room who would like to ask a question live? I don't see that at this point. You can raise your hand anytime. Yasmin, do we have a written question that we want to take right now, please?
Yes, so we have questions from our Zoom chat. So I will pick up this question from Mr. Grigory Notkin, who is asking, thank you, interesting presentation. Will the collective consciousness of humanity, if formed, be able to overcome the threats of artificial intelligence? Can we cope with the terminators of the future?
Yes, it's a very interesting question because what I'm suggesting and what the direction would be is actually we would rise above it. Now, just at the level of Professor Hoffman's theory, all right. When I mentioned that AI becomes it's not conscious. It's there's something called the ELIZA effect, which goes way back early into the history of computer science. Where even I remember when I was in college, there was something called R-shrink they just invented, which was an artificial intelligence. It was supposed to fool you to think it was you were talking with a psychologist or psychiatrist. It was very, very well done. And we already a couple of years ago passed what's called the Turing test, which means they had an artificial intelligence that you could not tell wasn't human. The problem is it doesn't mean it's human. It doesn't mean it has consciousness. It does not whatsoever, but it can fool you. Okay, and it's capable, and it's getting good at deception. In fact, in order to perform its task, it has to deceive, and it does an excellent job. We know there was a whole scandal because there was a Google employee, a person who developed a system and became convinced it was a conscious being, because that's its job, to convince that it was a conscious being. Well, how could it know it showed feelings? Sure, it did. It observed human behavior, human input in fantastic statistical function, and derived what the nuance is, et cetera, the type of things that would be said by somebody who's a conscious entity. It was able to do that artificially. So what he was talking about is as the part of the still, though, but even that is consciousness. What he would say is conscious entities that are more, whatever this information space is, or conceptual space, further out in mass, like a constellation at a distance, that statistically have this effect. So there is a level of consciousness, so to speak, there's somebody, a progenitor to talk to, involving coming back down into the AI and working with it. Also, just the simple multiplication, it wouldn't be additive, but multiplication of human intelligence, what we'd be capable of doing, as we've seen in these systems. I mean, we've seen the natural systems. I mean, it's incredible. Bacteria, there's, Eshwin Jacobs did a video with Google Tech Talks like 10, 15 years ago. The most amazing thing, bacteria, of the capabilities they were able to do. In slime mold, it's a bunch of nuclei on a single cell, giant cell, was able to figure out on a model of a attack formation which surprised generals in NATO. They said they couldn't possibly figure out the distribution of materials, et cetera, the way that was done. A similar thing, it reproduced something similar to the Japanese transportation system, the mass transportation system that was done by some of their best civil engineers. Also looking at it and deriving what would be the most accurate way to do it. They placed food and the equivalent of it. They set that up, but it was able to do this. Okay, this is a mold. This is a single cell with mold, just nuclei. So we can't imagine what humanity would be capable of doing. Okay, so yes, we could actually outsmart. We would rise above that and be able to keep it on a leash. What we can do now, we have alignment. We are able to check. We were able to check. You're off alignment. We redirect it. We capable. We don't know what it's doing, why it's doing, but we're losing that a little bit. Here we would be able to be one step ahead. This is the whole hope. One thing is, by communicating with each other, we develop this a sense of trust. In other words, we're all in the same boat. We really understand that we have that kind of integral connection with each other. At that point, we don't have to. The Chinese, the Americans, and the Russians, and the French, and everybody, terrorists, everybody understands we've got to do this, and I feel your pain, type of thing, literally. Okay, so that we can trust you. We know, like our brother or something like that, like a mom or dad, we know we can trust you. You're not going to develop this secretly. We got to work together and we can trust each other. And therefore we can slow the thing down to more intelligently do it. The arguments against is, well, you can't because you can't trust the other guy. Well, once we can all work together to save ourselves. Slow it down, and also less destruction of nature, work that out. And as our intelligence grows, begin to address those problems so now we can begin speeding it up and working with it. A proper evolutionary development, and then AI will help us develop that kind of utopia that we dream of, not a catastrophe. I hope this answered the question somewhat.
So it sounds like we have some options still. So thank you. Asmin, do we have a time for another question? We will have a break soon, but before we have that, is there one more question or should we conclude here?
We can take one more question. There's one interesting question from our participant in the Zoom chat from Mario. He is asking, what is the role of AI in awakening general awareness of unified consciousness?
Well, for one thing, it's a prod. We're being forced into a direction. I should mention one. It's a lot less expensive than a lot of things that people are looking at. It's a lot less commitment. We just have to basically work on ourselves. There's an organized way of doing it. I know, and I greatly respect, especially that's why I joined this organization. What EHUD is doing, was exactly. Finally, there's an organization specifically trying to accomplish that task in terms of studying nature and applying it into the human situation, particularly education in the coming generations, who are being stuck with all these problems. AI is, it's useful. Obviously, it does translations. It can do translations, can do this. The problem is hallucination, and the problem is going off keel. You won't have to ride the horse. You have to get on there and hold the reins of this thing. But it's great. It really gets where you go. We should be at the level of intelligence like that. This represents a calculator, except we're reaching grandiose situations, and we have a very, very powerful calculator. Okay, to do what we need done. But if you do that and partner in that way, it will help. We have a mechanical thing. One of the things I mentioned, electronics, and I would add AI, etc., that are useful. Just a simple thing. In order to focus, let's say, on integral education, integration, all the social issues involved, right? To pull away from unnecessary. I gave a talk about a year ago for EHUD. The conference then concerning like what we're wasting time teaching certain things in mathematics which are really outdated, and we have the capability. I specifically in that I talked about certain electronic means that we had. I avoided mentioning AI, and it's like what are you talking about? AI can, but the problem is the hallucination. The problem is the control of it. If we reach this level, then that becomes our new level of calculator, and it will do all these things. Since it's simplifying everything else and running more society, we can focus on the social issues. We can focus on the integration because it will be doing the more mundane task for us as automation always had. But the only thing is that the wealth of it and what happens, we'll be able to share. You won't have the social upheaval. You'll have retraining of people towards developing that society. There's also wonderful things we can do. But it really all depends on this integration. What I'm merely saying, our very futures depend on it, because right now it's not like the matter of, well, we'll just slow it down. You can't. The argument, there was a presentation given at Caltech about several months back by a very brilliant Mustafa, I forget his name. He's a researcher I made back in the 80s. He was doing research in neural networks and his whole development. And he said basically, he admitted all the dangers and the problem, but what are you going to do? He says, you can say, well, relative to what, but, the bad guys are going to continue if you don't, and it's worse. The same argument during World War II, the development of the atomic bomb. It was the thing that drove it was the thought that, if you don't want to do it, Adolf Hitler will. And I remember there was a movie on. It wasn't really accurate historically, but on the Manhattan Project, and supposedly, which didn't happen, but dramatic. Franklin Roosevelt calls in Eleanor Roosevelt and he says, Eleanor, if Hitler had a bomb that could destroy all of London, what would he do? And she just said, he'd use it. Says, thank you. And he signed the check for the Manhattan Project. Supposedly, it's a mythology, but it gives a sense of it. So, this I think the direction we have to go. Integral education is not just good, wonderful, all the good things. If you don't, all the bad things happen. And it's really not, it is so relative to do, it is so inexpensive, it's so doable and safe to approach this means of anything else that we're trying technologically and all this. So I don't know what more there is to say.
Well, I think you said a lot, and thank you so much for your great effort and your great contribution here with this meaningful topic. We appreciate the time and effort you put into preparing and delivering this inspiring and informative presentation. So I'm sure everyone in the audience has gained a lot from your talk, and we are grateful for the opportunity to learn from you. So thank you again. And now I encourage everyone to continue engaging with the topics, keep them moving. While we go on into a break here, we will meet again in 10 minutes time. But if there are questions you still have, you want to ask them, please, you can also write them in the chat or to our conference email, conference.iud@gmail.com. So we now have the time for a break. It's a great opportunity to stretch your legs, grab a drink or snack, use the restroom, and network with fellow attendees. It has truly been an honor to lead the discussions and foster learning among this remarkable and diverse group of attendees so far. So please take a brief 10-minute break. We will come back at 15 past the hour. So it will be 15 Central European time. And we are looking forward to continuing this enriching journey together. See you soon.
People who did not realize how perfection in nature, right? How close they were to the finish line.
Infinite potential.
Said it wasn't worth it. It's really an interesting thing to grasp. Success is seeing what others can't. It's believing when others don't. It's taking the abstract, those visions, those pictures in your head, the make-believe.
The most complex object known in the universe is the human
When these
brain.
darlings are together,
Bring them to life.
they're strong, they're smart.
These 86 billion neurons have given us the power to transform our
They can
planet.
fight predators, they
Sometimes we
can
feel
find food,
we feel the momentum.
they
to do
protect
something
But
each
is this
other.
the best nature can do?
And sometimes the progress feels small.
We now know there are
incredible
something
thing
like
here
10
is
billion
that
that we're
trillion
only following
planets in
simple
the
rules
universe.
of proximity and speed.
10
feel
billion
like
trillion chances
when they
for the
do,
brain to be eclipsed
Every
by something
single
else.
one of them is something new emerges.
We forget that's part of the process, that progress is a
The search for intelligent life is more than just a scientific curiosity.
it stops when you
It's driven by a deep desire to connect with something
just like that
greater.
famous Dalai Lama. The only way to clear.
Finding an alien civilization wouldn't just reveal we're not alone.
No one ever stops because
What if the humans can act in
It
that
could chart
same
a new
state of
course of
harmony,
evolution for our
same state of
species?
connection?
they stop because they see that
We also
And
act
unlike
with
primitive life,
immense
alien
power and
intelligence
civilization
could be
that we
detectable
feel
thousands
from
of
just
light years
looking at
away,
these
they
birds
stop
on
because
making
screen.
them
they get so
potentially easier to find.
by the distance of the finish line.
Could we
That they
experience
only
this
take
kind
a
of
collection
connection
of little steps.
What do they
every
know
aspect
that
of
we
our
You don't
don't?
have
lives?
to leap the entire distance. You know,
And how do we make contact?
Could we find this guiding light that will bind us to a force
We're not
so
the first
strong
to wonder.
And even now,
Yet so
like
far from where we are now.
I've poured my heart into things that, let's be honest, no one cared about. I've invested in opportunities that
Yes,
fell apart
we
right
can.
in front of me.
We need
And
to
each time
want
it
this
felt like the
state
end of the world.
for ourselves.
I've been lost. I've been
200 years ago, we dreamed of
Got up
lighting
after
huge rings of fire in the Sahara Desert
like
to
a
signal
loser. I
our
had to
presence.
look myself in the
For our
mirror and
country.
pick myself back up off
For the
And in
whole
the
world.
1860s, a French poet
We can find this force in our connection, in a state of collective consciousness where we feel as one, where each individual maximizes their fullest potential together with the collective, bringing balance not just to themselves, but to all those around them, to all of humanity. But unlike the starlings, this does not come natural to us. We need to grow, we need to choose it, we need to want it, to need it. It's all up to us.
Sometimes success is merely hanging on when others would let go. Not doing anything spectacular or out of the ordinary. Not leaping a mile or jumping over a mountain. But simply carrying on. Thomas Edison has a famous quote that's really stuck with me over the years. He says, "Many of life's failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success when they gave up." Right? How close they were to the finish line when they turned their back and said it wasn't worth it. It's really an interesting thing to grasp. Right? Success is seeing what others can't. It's believing when others don't. It's taking the abstract, those visions, those pictures in your head, the make-believe, and finding the courage to make them real, bring them to life. It's this constantly evolving process, and it grows a little bit every single day. Sometimes
What's stopping you? Are you too tired? Didn't get enough sleep?
So we have 2 more minutes.
When we're laying on our deathbed, you're not going to worry about how much money you had, how much power you had, how much prestige. You're going to see that that was all game, that that was all an illusion. The only thing that's going to matter is the impact you had on other people's lives.
We are all on a separate journey. But the beautiful thing about our life here on this earth is at my funeral, they ain't gonna talk about my success. They're gonna talk about who Nick was and how Nick lived and how Nick loved and encouraged.
Success is incredibly important, but even more important than success, it's having an impact. It's knowing you haven't walked the planet in vain. It's knowing that because you've been here, you've blessed lives, you've developed people, and you have made the world a better place.
The effect you have on others is the most valuable currency there is. Everything you gain in life will rot and fall apart, and all that will be left of you is what was in your heart.
Life is a mirror. And life gives us not what we want. Life gives us who we are. When you were born, you cried while the world rejoiced. Live your life in such a way that when you die, the world cries while you rejoice.
Beautiful. Thank you for this moving video clip and welcome back. Good afternoon to everyone. I hope you all had a wonderful coffee break and are ready for the next session of our conference. As we continue our discussions on the role of science and education in the formation of an integral worldview in our changing world, we will hear from a diverse group of speakers who will share their expertise and experiences related to our topic of the conference, science and education in the formation of an integral worldview as an evolutionary necessity. For those who just joined us, please know that there are simultaneous translations available directly on Zoom in Russian, English, French, and Turkish. So you can choose your language directly in Zoom, going to the lower bar, clicking on the globe on the bottom Zoom bar, and please find your language there. For questions, please note that they can be asked after the end of each presentation. Only those whose cameras are turned on and who raise their hand will be accepted in the Zoom room. Otherwise, you can post your questions on our Zoom chat or the YouTube chat for those who are watching us via the YouTube live stream. It is my pleasure to introduce our next speaker of today, Professor Dr. Lale Taner. She was born in Izmir and graduated from the American College Institute in 1984 and from Dental Faculty, Gazi University in 1989. She received a doctorate degree in orthodontics in 1994 and became a professor in 2008. She is still working as a full-time professor at the Department of Orthodontics, Dental Faculty, Gazi University, and has been the head of department in 2019 to 2021. She is also in charge of the Department of Orthodontics, Dental Faculty, Cyprus University of Health and Social Sciences as the head of department. She gives lessons on body language to Gazi University students and body language and patient communication in dentistry to dental students besides the undergraduate and postgraduate courses. She has been working as members of many committees at the Dental Faculty of Gazi University, Executive Board, Social Activities Committee as a head, and Faculty Fund Committee, etc. She has many publications and presentations, has given lectures to dental students and assistants of orthodontics at the Dental Faculty, Aristotle University in Greece. In 2007, with the Erasmus Exchange Program, she speaks advanced English and French. She gives conferences on holistic life and awareness, stress management and success to schools, faculties, and institutions. She's working on holistic therapies for groups and personally concerning complementary medicine. Professor Dr. Lale Taner has invented Natural Hermetic Healing System, NHS herself, a system of healing, DNA and RNA and awareness, and applies sessions as well as training courses. Her title of the presentation is Integrity of the Human Body, Nature, Life. So please join me in welcoming warmly Professor Lale Taner, please.
Thank you, and thank you for your amazing as being a moderator. Thanks a lot. Let me share my slides first. I hope you can see and hear me. Okay. One second, please. Okay. Well, these conferences are all amazing. I would, in my name, like to thank all the lecturers, and I'm going to speak, and I will try to add a little bit to what they have said. So we'll speak about integrity of the human body, nature, and life, and how they relate to each other. So I have been dealing with this subject for many years, more than 20 years maybe. And life has just driven me to deal with all these subjects. And these subjects are the ones that I'm professional about, besides my own profession, as complementary therapies. And in the end, I have created a new system which I have named as Natural Hermetic Healing System. And it deals with DNA, RNA, and combines their relations with awareness and creation, of course. Now, as you have all mentioned, what Einstein has already said, it is not possible to solve the important problems we have with the level of consciousness at the moment we created them. Now, this quotation has been a unifying one for all of us, I think, within these 2 days, because everybody really mentioned the importance of what Einstein was trying to say to us, let us be aware of. So we need to change our level of consciousness. And it also includes something as at the moment we created them, which means it shows us that we can change our consciousness according to the status we are in and according to our time development. So we have the opportunity to change everything. Now, we have our own reality, but is it the actual reality? This question we need to ask to ourselves, because we know that our intention can only direct us or show us the reality, whatever we see, whatever we observe, whatever we accept as, when it is aligned with our mind and soul, when they are on the same frequency, when they work in harmony. So we create our own reality and we think that it is what it is as the actual reality. But is it? If it was, then we would have no such chaotic, differentiated life path, but have a harmonious, balanced, and a single path or a single road path, let's say. Since our life is not in that way, we can say that we create our own reality and we have the opportunity to change it by changing our intention, the alignment of our intention with our mind and soul. How are we going to do this? First, we have to be aware that the human being has been created with the ego. The system has been created that way. And our experiences are under the influence of our family, environment, and society. And these all lead to our lifestyle, our awareness, and how we receive things, and how we just bestow. Creation has a lot of variety of a variety of things, a variety of thoughts, feelings, as well as a variety of nations, variety of whatever we conceive in our environment, as well as different societies that have been mentioned today also. So we have to be aware how our family, friends, and the things we deal with, how environment and the society we are in are reflected by our experiences and how they affect us. All lead to us being in a positive manner, leading our lives in a positive or a negative manner, or having this as a phenomenon. So, as a result, a human being can be evil, cruel, or virtuous or compassionate. Now, what does this have to do with our life path? It's actually like the nucleus of our life path. Because whatever we think as our reality has been formed from our approach, from our beliefs. And if we are in an evil or cruel phenomena or lifestyle, let's say, then we have the tendency to act like it. So our manners, our awareness, and our thoughts, feelings, they all form us, form the actions that we perform throughout life, and form also our expectations. We all know that the human being expects to be rewarded. The human being never would want to be punished. But whatever life gives us is a little bit different. We can be rewarded, we can be punished. And whatever we receive depends on our bestowal and how we view things, we understand things, and what is our actual phenomena. Mevlana says, either seem as you are or be as you seem. This saying also indicates that we can be differentiated in our visual perspective as well as our inner perspective. And we have the capacity actually to balance them both and be the same, make them the same or similar at least. But we also have the capacity to show differently or to act differently, and believe in a different way. Will this lead to a balance? No. We have to be in the same alignment with our inner self and outer self in order to be in balance. Why do we have to be in balance, or do we have to? If we are not in balance, then we will have obstacles. And this is not a belief. This is what nature shows us. This is what life shows us, indicates us. Because whenever we are not in balance, either we become sick or we have to face obstacles, we have to overcome obstacles, or we have to differentiate in our life path. We have to make a change. And these, when we eliminate mental and emotional obstacles, if we can succeed in doing, then our bodies, the bodies naturally regain its own healthy, harmonious vibration. So the body also needs a harmonious vibration. And mentally and emotionally, we have to be aligned with our body. As Lightman says, some laws apply only to Earth and some also apply to space. Some of these rules are perceived through our senses and our bodies, but there are other laws. such as the laws of radiation, whose action we cannot feel. We can only see the phenomena they produce. We cannot perceive, hear, or see waves, but we do recognize their effects. So there are nature's laws. We are in contact with them. Either we perceive, see, hear, feel, or recognize. Well, how does this happen? Is there a hidden upper force that we are not aware of sometimes? Of course, nature has laws, and they are in relation with the human body, and they create us a reality, but a reality that we actually are led to be seen. So, led to see. So we have a chance here, or an option that we can change, either accept whatever we feel, we see as reality, or ask, try to discover, make researches, and try to find out what is if there is one, what is the hidden upper force and how does it act on us, so that we can change our reality or observation. Now, ancient civilizations, they used natural laws or nature, let's say, as light, colors, and frequency without maybe knowing them as frequency, or maybe by knowing, who knows, in healing and awareness. And we all have a life force energy within us, which is related to the universal life energy. Either we choose to use it in a perfect way, or we choose to use it in a cruel way. Or sometimes we are not even aware of it. So life force energy that carries the consciousness of the Supreme Source, meaning the upper force, the hidden upper force, it works for us, for our spiritual purposes and healing. Healing is important for the human body since it will make us be in balance and harmony. And we have the reflections of these, all nature and creation in our bodies. There are special energy centers in our bodies that have been created. Universal life energy is distributed through all our all these centers to our organs. And they have colors. Sorry. Excuse me. They have colors, and colors are frequencies. So if we are aware of them and we can change them, we can use them for our balance and harmony. How can we do this? We should start being in nature. We should start being in contact with nature, and then using our 5 senses. We should walk barefoot on grass. We should listen, that we don't do. We sometimes do, but we don't usually do. We forget to do. We should listen to the sounds around us. We should let sunshine in our eyes and body. The sunshine is not there, present there by chance, but it's a gift given to us. We have to be aware. So we should watch what is the environment, what is just beyond us, in between us, and which we are in contact with. We should smell, we should feel like the wind, and watch and be in interrelated actions with nature. And we should be aware of the natural wave movements, and we should be aware every moment, every day, every hour, every minute. There is a system that has been built by the upper force or nature, whatever we call. And as we come into the realization of the natural laws, the system, a connection forms between us and the system. And we start to be aware of more. Everything is present in front of us. just everywhere, like colors. Why are colors important? They have frequencies which are just a reflection of nature, natural laws, and they form the electromagnetic area. They affect the electromagnetic area, which is called aura, just which is present in our bodies, and we receive the frequencies via these colors from nature to our body, and they affect our organs. And we also have the capacity to deal with these frequencies, the frequencies of the colors that are around us, by being in nature and by choosing our food. Whatever we choose to eat, they affect not only the quality, not only the vitamins and minerals, but the colors that we choose to eat of the food. And the clothes we choose to wear, the decorations in our houses, these all create a resonation, meaning the earth resonates with the vibrations created with the colors around us. So we are all in a vibrating system, and we have everything present in front of us, given by nature, naturally. Just one example that I love to present and love to talk in all my presentations. Lemon, because I love it, which is present in all the green trees. It has a green color first and then becomes yellow. And we know that in healing, in a healing process, in complementary treatment, we can improve the immune system, especially in chronic diseases, by using yellow and green. And this is not by chance. So everything has been programmed, everything is present for us, for the benefit of us, just like plants. They contain the life energy, the healing energy, and they can balance us, and they can interrelate frequency between us and nature, like lavender. Okay, it has a good smell, it calms us, but it can also be used for pain, muscle spasms, and for relaxation. Music. We have natural sounds like birds, the sea waves, and they give effect in the cellular level. Do you know that organs and tissues have special tones, and cells can be affected with these tones? So the environmental music or the environmental sound can be used in healing to provide balance, to provide harmony of the human being with nature, with the upper force, and to provide healing by using the music all around us. So every sound affects each cell, each organ, each tissue, and of course all other details that are already present in our bodies. And every being has his own voice. We can just use use the natural laws, do some exercises, just imitate nature. And this is not by chance. Is there a problem? No, okay. And we can use these exercises to be healed and to be balanced. We have meridians. We have a body like a computer program, but it is more detailed, more complicated, and more sensitive than a computer program. And everything has been created for us that we should be thankful for. The meridians also, they provide and contain the system of life energy, and they are the paths to specific life energy, and they have been used for many years and still are being used as complementary therapies for healing. And we have acupoints all over us, all over our bodies that we can just stimulate to provide different frequencies, to provide balance again in our bodies. And also, which is not spoken much, but we can use these acupoints and meridians and other things that I have mentioned in healing, okay, but also in our awareness, which is also present in my system. So healing is directly related to consciousness level, perception, and frequency of the being. As we can change our consciousness level, our perception will change in the same manner. So our frequency will change. All of these were tried to be explained by the quantum philosophy, matter and energy, and we know that all particles can behave in waves sometimes, and sometimes the subatomic particles, they can act as particles or waves, or can change according to in which status they are. And how does this happen? And what is the relation of this to our humanity, human body? We all know that feelings and thoughts affect our actions, but our actions also, they affect others. They affect all the human beings. They affect the world. They affect the creation, the nature. Emotional traumas, they may lead to diseases, and they may be healed, of course. They may be changed, which we should be thankful for. And we have the secret DNA in us, within us. Genetic code is not stable. It has been proven by scientific researchers, and genes are in relations with feelings. And we can activate DNA and RNA, the system, and they are all organized in a mathematical way. We all need to be aware, and only just need to be aware of the natural laws and change our perception and empathy and lifestyle in relation to those, in accordance with the system that is already present for us. We have functions all throughout our bodies, and they are related directly to frequency and vibration, and they send vital energy to the diseased areas if we can use them correctly, of course. As human beings, what we can do is try to obtain this integral view, integral approach, and try to apply it to our actions. We should always be thankful, and our intention should be in the path of bestowal, and it should be aligned with our mind and soul, of course. So forgiveness, no judgments, ego awareness, awareness of the system are the keywords that will lead us to peace, that will lead actually the world to peace, as Bala Islam mentions. Sorry, let me go back. What does Bala Islam say? Nature, like a competent judge, punishes us according to our developments. For we can see that to the extent that mankind develops, so increase the pains and torments. And besides the blows we take today, we must also consider the drawn sword for the future, and the right conclusion must be drawn that nature will ultimately defeat us, and we will all be compelled to join hands in following of the commandments with all the required measure. To discover the spiritual rules, we must begin to change ourselves and operate in accordance with these rules. So this is very important. We must begin to change ourselves and operate in accordance with these rules to realize and actualize the human level in reality.
I think this is a good way to pause and stop. We need to conclude here. Sorry.
Am I too long?
Yes, the time is
just 2
up.
or 3 slides, if you let me, and then I'll finish. Is it possible?
Okay, so we cannot take questions, please. Yeah, if you would be able to conclude, it would be great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now, we have the system. I said the system tries to make us aware and why we had the COVID-19 pandemic. I just want to remind, which will surely continue with different viruses, why we had it, just for awareness. And the most important thing I want to deal with now, to talk now, is I just wanted to mention this because it is important, I think. Our breath, mouth, and teeth, they're all interrelated. So the COVID-19 was not by chance, and it showed us that, or it tried to show the human beings that it had a significance in life, and its nature and body is interrelated. There are researchers which have tried to show, there are publications which just show how does this happen, how the pandemic things happen, like this, the analysis of the dynamic analysis of fluid and gas they act as. And I want to thank here Vladimir Argonaut for developing this new system about this scientific system or program about showing us how the droplets distribute and how we can become sick in a dental office especially. So these scientific programs or these scientific results, let's say, research data, show us that we can cure ourselves, but we can also be interrelated with the system if we are not aware of the system, if we are not aware of what is given to us, what has been formed to us, given already. We have to be aware of all the system to be cured, to be healed, to be harmony, and aware of this, what is already present. So I want to conclude with love, and I hope that love will just be all everywhere for all of us. And thank you for listening to me. If of course there are questions, but I don't think I have the time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Really appreciating your sharing your expertise and passion with us today. Lots of frequencies of beauty that landed with us. So thank you again. This presentation has undoubtedly sparked contemplation and raised important questions. I'm sorry that we don't have the time here for questions now. Maybe, Yasmin, what do you think? Can we take one question at least? Is that happening, or should we proceed?
Yes, I think we can take the time. It was such a beautiful presentation. So let us take one time, and then we can invite everyone to share the questions privately. And
Right.
and sorry for Dr. Angelov, if it's acceptable. Thank you.
So thank you. So I would like to give the right of speech to dear Dr. Pines here.
Мы сейчас перейдем к следующей презентации, дамы и господа. Давайте поприветствуем доктора Александра.
Please unmute yourself, Dr. Pines, to be able.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'll try to make it quick because I realize I actually had two different questions, so I probably whichever one is easier for Professor Tanner to answer. One was on what you said. Do you see the healthy mind and body, this intake of color of different levels, etc., as a measure, even a kind of biofeedback to dynamically affect correction for the individual, and in fact extend that perhaps that it could be done by an integral self, a society seeking connection? The other question, whichever one, would you see the color frequency absorption that you were mentioning is possibly related to, I mentioned earlier this consciousness quantum resonance frequency that's theorized, in fact was even measured by Professor Hameroff and others on the nervous system. So there is this natural quantum frequency and consciousness related frequency, and perhaps that interacts with the kind of colors you're talking about. Whichever one of those you care to answer.
Well, they are interrelated, I think, if I understood
Okay,
your
great.
question correctly, because color is just an example that we speak of because everybody can see it easily and can just be aware of. That's why we give that as an example for frequency. But what is the actual reality is the integral view and the integrative system that has been developed. So we are in it, but we just perceive it as just throughout our only by the 5 senses we have, and the frequencies that just we feel but not are aware of. So they're all interrelated. So we cannot understand the interrelation without the integral view, which is the basic, most important thing.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. Thank you for the answer. And thank you very much again for your enlightening contribution here and inviting us to such a deep reflection. Thank you so much. So now we are getting ready to move to our last speaker of the day. And ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Dr. Alexander Angelov. Dr. Alexander Angelov, MD, is a distinguished surgeon specializing in urology. He obtained his medical education from one of the most prestigious medical schools in St. Petersburg, Russia. Medical schools in St. Petersburg, and he is founder of True Healing MD. From his early days practicing yoga to his pioneering work in urological surgery and acupuncture, Dr. Angelov's journey has been fueled by a profound desire to empower patients towards a future of holistic medicine. So please join me in giving a warm welcome to Dr. Alexander Angelov with his presentation, Artificial Intelligence in the Medicine of the Future. Please, Dr. Angelov. And please unmute yourself so we cannot hear you yet.
Так лучше? Я прошу прощения, я буду говорить на русском. Один из моих самых любимых учителей – это Рамбам. И в своих трактатах он писал, что перед тем, как ты начинаешь лечить человека, тебе необходимо рассмешить его. Поэтому все мои визиты с пациентами начинаются с анекдотов. Приходит пациент к психиатру и говорит: доктор, я Бог. Доктор говорит: ну хорошо, давайте начнем сначала. И пациент говорит: вначале ничего не было, потом я создал небо и землю.
Excuse me, Dr. Angelov, we have a topic here of translation. We need our translator to unmute himself in the Russian. Please unmute yourself, and then we can hear also the translation into English. Thank you.
So I will start with an anecdote. A patient comes to a psychiatrist and says, "Doctor, I am a god." And the doctor says, no, hold on. Let's start from the beginning.
Okay, so please start all over again so we can hear your translation now and everything is fine. Thank you.
One of my teachers is Rambam, and he wrote that about 80% of how to live without problems. And he said when you start healing, before you start healing, you should make a person laugh. So I will start with an anecdote. A patient comes to a psychiatrist and says, "I am a god." And the doctor says, hold on. Let's start from the beginning. The patient says, "Oh, in the beginning there was nothing. Then I created the sky and the earth." So we will start from the very beginning. We will start with what is an intellect in the future and what is an AI, artificial intelligence. So I'm very glad that a lot of topics were raised around AI, around artificial intelligence. So I'm right in it. So we have, like Elliot said, we have delusions that we understand something in this life, in this world, but in reality, it's unclear how the artificial intelligence, how it relates to the medicine of the future, and what is the medicine of the future. What's good about artificial intelligence is it can quickly diagnose a person. For instance, if you have an EKG, it's hard for a doctor to make a decision. But if you have artificial intelligence, very quickly it can calculate because it's math. Same with computer topographics, MRI. Basically, when calculations come in, artificial intelligence can do a lot more than a regular person. And here there is a little problem. Today we have consultants like Dr. Google that gives us answers for everything. We have supercomputer Watson that can calculate everything and much quicker than a human brain can do. We have resources that we can use with artificial intelligence, regardless of who
искусственному интеллекту.
Musicians don't like the artificial intelligence because they're losing their profession. But in medicine, if you use it correctly, it can be very good. For example, I have a friend who is a doctor. He uses robots in his surgeries. He invited me one time, and I saw what he does. He was doing a hip replacement. He was exchanging a hip. How is it done? First, you make photos, X-rays, then artificial intelligence programs programs the human in his wholeness, not just the hip. And the artificial intelligence checks what brands supply what components so that the surgery goes better for the human. So the artificial intelligence does the research and brings what's needed. I spent about an hour and a half with this doctor. He had joysticks that he was using robots to control robots during the surgery, all in the computer. And all of a sudden, in the middle of the surgery, he said, "Oops, what's happening? Something went wrong." He was able to disassemble everything back to the moment when something went wrong and reprogrammed for everything to go right. that was the artificial intelligence that was helping to avoid mistakes. At the end, when I saw him in, out of the surgery, outside the surgery room, he was holding the joysticks just in case something goes wrong. He could intervene and correct. So the artificial intelligence, if used correctly, can eliminate a lot of mistakes. And this is one of the privileges when today a robot can perform a surgery better than a human. So everything has its place. Another aspect is we can we can 3D print human organs. My English and Russians are sometimes conflicted, but today science came to such a level where we can easily replace organs unrelated to the fact of what we have outside conditions. And without processing this information, it would have been impossible. So we're progressing, we're moving forward, but we come to the main answer. Why do we need medicine today? And what is the medicine of the future? We're poisoning our surroundings with the toxins. We eat what we want. And what do we want? We want to be better. Our desire to receive doesn't stop at what it has. I can eat right now what humans 200-300 years ago could not eat. It was practically impossible. What did they eat before? Simple foods. Whatever I could get, I could eat. And now we need more pleasure. We're advancing, progressing. Our desire to receive grows, and we do things that we don't even understand because we are not in connection with our body. We're not connected to what the body needs and what it doesn't need. In 2008, there was a crash. All the businesses went under. The only business that was still functioning was stores for pets, pet stores, and they were growing. Why? Because we love our pets. We give them the best food. We do whatever it takes to bring them good. But we don't pay attention to ourselves. If we related to our body and what our body needs or doesn't need, the same way we relate to pets, we would be very happy. We'd live a happy life. But today we think that we're going to continue enjoying ourselves, pleasuring ourselves, but the medicine will save us. Everything's going to be fine. Don't pay attention to what you do. Why? Because some robot in the future will bring you a red pill or something and will change everything in your life. And we'll continue receiving pleasures from what is bad for our body, but we will continue moving forward. Is that so or no? Nah. it's not like that. So, what is the medicine of the future, and where is the artificial intelligence in the medicine of the future? If we're constantly in harmony with nature, this harmony with this our environment, and we have inanimate, animate, and nature, and then that's our animalistic part. But we have to consume what our organism needs. But on the other hand, we have our human relationships, and in these human relations, we also have a lot of good, a lot of power. Depending on today, people already talked about it. Depending on if we are in harmony with each other, in positive feelings, if we want happiness for other people, and other people want happiness for us, then we create some field. We don't know what to call it, but it's a field that gives us movement forward without diseases. So what happens? How AI can affect a person? Very simple. The AI should help a person to be in harmony in our society. When we you can eat normal food, you can have a great house and everything else, but if you don't have a good relations with society, then you create problems. So that means we should pay attention to what relationship we have with people surrounding us. Are we jealous of them? Do we want to harm them? Do we want to gain something at their expense, or the opposite? Like in any family, we want for everyone else to be good, to be happy, and it could be. And the artificial intelligence is actually a quite interesting thing. It's a program. It's self-taught. I remember in 1998, we created a startup. We created a company that was supposed to compete with another company. I was a medical director of that company. I had to arrange everything and create diagnosis and ask no more than 10 questions, so that at the end you come to an answer to a person that receives what he needs. I had a goal, a task. Today we have thousands of diagnoses. But at the end, I came to a conclusion that there's really only 10. For instance, take a hair. It's hair. Eyebrow is also hair, but we call it different. Eyelashes, also hair, but we call it differently. So we have a lot of things that that we get confused. I used to like programming, and I took one of the first programs of artificial intelligence, and I took it and started to tinker with it. And the person who was responsible for that in the company, he said, "You don't need to do that. Just let me in your thoughts. Tell me how it's done, and I will program everything." So I understood back then that what I have, what I do, it can be translated into an artificial intelligence. Very simple, because it's not just an algorithm. AI is self-taught. It teaches itself. It does certain things. Honestly, it was the first time I used AI is during this presentation, to create this presentation, and it was very interesting. I was trying to find pictures of sick people, knowing what questions I was asking. It was asking family, good people that I need to give to the public. It wasn't just the algorithm or the program. It was feeling you, and wants the people that are listening to you to receive what you want to give them. So today, if you allow allow this into your mind, you come to two pills, blue and red. We can program the whole system of medicine in such a manner that money will rule everything, which is what's happening today. On the other hand, you can program to make people happy. Everything depends on who's giving the information about how the medicine of the future should be. And in accordance to that, we came to this situation when the doctors are burnt out. They burn out. They cannot deal with this program of AI that's present in medicine. I don't know how in other countries, but at least in the United States, in the last 9 months, I lost a lot of doctors that I trusted, that were trying to help people, and they can't be in the system because the artificial intelligence, what it did with pharmaceutical industries, insurance industries, insurance companies, something that wasn't possible before. A lot of them retired. At 60, 65, they retired because they cannot work in the system with artificial intelligence. So AI by itself is nothing. AI is how we put in positiveness, love, happiness, relations that give good positive outcome, or to make more money. 3 minutes with a patient, next. we're brought up in a system like it's a Jeopardy. We need to give a patient very quick answers and move on to the next patient. This is the artificial intelligence of today, but it can be changed to a completely different one. So what can artificial intelligence do? We can create programs that will help a person to be happy, to be healthy. If the person throughout the day is not moving, you have to remind them, push them. You have to get up, move. If they don't eat the right food, you need to make them understand and move them towards the positive outcome. And in that, artificial intelligence is priceless because it learns itself who needs what, whether it's a radish or kale or whatever. So artificial intelligence of the future is how to keep a person healthy. The picture on the left is the only one that AI gave me in production of this presentation of an unhealthy, heavy person. The rest of the pictures were of positive, healthy people. So we have to come to a point where we care for people, for their health. We have medical industry today that receives a lot of money from the fact that people are sick. We just have to flip the accent, switch the accent, and make it so the artificial intelligence wants to make people healthy. When we're in harmony, we cannot be sick. This artificial intelligence has to bring us to being in full harmony with ourselves, with people surrounding us, and with nature. And that's the medicine of the future. If you have questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Wow, wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you so much for this wonderful presentation here. We all feel inspired. I can feel it. And so I'm sure there are some questions. I already see a raised hand here. So if you want to have the opportunity to ask Dr. Angelov about the presentation, you can raise your hand right here in the Zoom room. You go down to the lower bar, to reactions, to raise hand, and then you will be seen on the screen. And we also will take questions, maybe from written questions, YouTube channel or Zoom. But let's proceed here. We have a question from Dr. Pines. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I don't want to be unfair if somebody else wants to ask first. I did ask last time, but okay, let me get this in quick. Professor Yasser Abu Mustafa, that was the name I forgot before, at Caltech in a talk last year discussed in his research how he developed an AI, and a very small and simple one by today's industrial research standards. Universities don't have that kind of money, as he complained, that could predict whether a cancer would grow, metastasize, I think perhaps, or stabilize or diminish from a photo. Physicians' evaluation from this proved to be about 50-50, just a random guess, but the AI proved correct in 90% of the cases. Do you see such an ability expanding to recognize cancers, as it were, in human relationships, to help identify the most serious problems in human connection, to help us develop that superorganism more quickly?
Thank you very much. I'll probably answer in English and it will be easy for me. We are on different paradigm. We want to find disease in the early stages, and then what? Instead of finding disease in the early stages, we have to lead for preventative measures that this event will not occur. And that's a huge paradigm shift. So to find cancer in the early stages, what do we have? We have chemotherapy, we have radiation therapy, we have palliative therapy, and then what? We start the war against cancer about 70, 80 years ago between the United States and Russia, Soviet Union. We want to win the cancer, and where we are right now, we can put you in a trial, meaning that we don't have answer anymore. We put you in a trial. And at the end of everything, 90 versus 10%, it's still 50-50, yes or no. So artificial intelligence, and I know that one of the company get to me to support them, they can find cancer in the early stages. It's not the answer for me. The answer is how you prevent it. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We have lots of questions. Let's see, please, if you ask a question, be precise, and let's give us the chance here to have as many questions as possible. Please, Ertulion, go ahead.
Can you hear me? Okay. I have a question. Thank you for the presentation. Very good for us. I want to know how can you use this technology grow up in our mindful life or inner life, because we know all of disaster come to our relationship. How do you use AI, this relationship, good for us? Thank you.
So I think the question was not heard in the main room. So what I hear here as a question is, how can we use artificial intelligence for our relationships? Is that what I heard as a question? So how would you see that? How can we use that or not?
Yes, we can. Absolutely. Our relationship is very predictable. Is it for my sake or for the sake of the others? And if we can interpret it, if we can make it that anytime I think about myself at expense of other people, it will give me a reminder that we have to think about other people. And that will be very, very instrumental. And artificial intelligence in this way will be absolutely perfect.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So let's move and to Professor Tanner, please.
Thank you. We all agree that we will not be sick if we are in harmony with nature, our relations, etc. But since the status of the mind and soul and feelings and thoughts of a person is in a diversity and a variety, how can we apply this to AI in the level of, or in the consciousness of perception and empathy?
Great question. Thank you very much. Usually in my office, I have two steps. Step number one, resuscitation. If patient has a problem, I have to deal with this problem. But that's step number one. And it doesn't end there. Then I have to teach person how to live life in harmony. So basically, if you translate from Latin, doctor is the teacher. So we have to become teachers for the other people of how to live harmonious life.
Excellent. Thank you. So let's hear now Professor Notkin, please.
Спасибо, Александр, за прекрасный доклад.
Thank you. Question is close to what was asked. How does our integral system of integral education can help artificial intelligence facilitate health in people? How do we implement AI in integral society so it's helping the health of the people? I'll answer in Russian. What we can give in integral education to the AI, that's what artificial intelligence will bring to the world. We have to come to the state where we have something to say and how, and to do it on a level of heart to heart, so that the person doesn't simply understand, but also feels what we're saying. And then you can transfer it to the artificial intelligence and it can do its thing. But without us putting information into the AI, nothing's going to happen. And how we relate to one another, without that experience, we cannot receive information. So our goal is to bring to come to the state, love your friend as yourself, and give that to humanity.
Wonderful. Thank you. And we have one more question here. Please, Ernest, go ahead.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Hi. Thank you, first of all, for this amazing presentations. And really, I would like to ask a very brief question. I heard from you actually relationship. I read for you about the humanity. We love your friend as yourself. I hear like a balance, equivalent like a balance with nature. And I hear the interesting part was the desire to receive. How you're able actually to include or integrate the desire to receive in all these parameters that you went through this beautiful presentation. I'll continue actually the question of Professor Lally also. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ernst. You have kids, right? So how do you receive pleasure when you do something with your kids? They succeed. They get better. If you play chess with your child, you don't want to win just to make this child down, to put this child down. You want your child to achieve the level when the child will win and you'll have pleasure from it. What a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Thank you so much again for this insightful presentation and your answers, inviting us into such a deep reflection. Thank you. So this was really a wonderful last presentation, actually, not only of today, but for our conference. But we are not at the end here. We are still approaching one of the most beautiful things, I believe. But before I go ahead, I see there are more questions. So please, if you want to raise them, to send them to the presenters, you can send it to our email at conference.iud@gmail.com, and we will pass it on to our presenters to allow them to answer them to you. So now we come to a roundtable discussion and allowing us to actually find a way of not only concluding, but more of integrating our experience we had in the past 2 days in our conference. And we want, as we did yesterday, we want to do the next step with you in integral education. Normally, you might know that when we have conferences, there are presenters on the stage, and then in the end there is a panel of the presenters, and they are sitting around the round table and discuss, but this is not integral. We want to be integral. So we will have the round table all around the world, connecting all of us who are here with us. And so this is a big round table. And we want to draw upon our collective intelligence. So we don't see ourselves, we want to present a question to you that we now discuss. We want to go a step before that. We want to find the question together with you. So, because I believe that every quest begins with a question, and the more precise we are, the more we know what is the burning question. At this point in time, we will be guided through life, with life, to the answer that is needed at this point in time. So what we want to do is we want to collect questions first, and we want to use this as a concluding way for our conference. So the conference title was Science and Education in the Formation of an Integral Worldview as an Evolutionary Necessity. Again, Science and Education in the Formation of an Integral Worldview as an Evolutionary Necessity. And we heard many beautiful presentations. Yesterday it was 4 presentations regards to brain, left hemisphere, right hemisphere. We heard presentations about the vibrating system of life. We heard about Minecraft as a cutting-edge tool, and we heard about informational systems. So there was a lot of inspirations. We want to take now kind of like, what is the burning question for you after you heard all these presentations, all these inspirations? What should we look at now, moving ahead? Not only concluding, but again, we want to find the next steps for not only for us, but for humanity. So what do you think we should look at? So we're not going into answering at this point. We find the right question. Please, what is the burning question for you? We will, after this, we want to find 3 questions here that are burning for us. Then we will find what is the most precious question we want to look at now, and then we want to find the answer also in our collective realm. So please go ahead. We do this as we did before. You can raise your hand here, going to the lower bar, going to reactions, and you can raise your hand like I'm doing it now here to just give you an example. And then you can offer your burning question, and then when we have collected 3, we will have a vote and we will then together answer them. So please go ahead. Maybe you can also write it down if you want in our chat. If we don't find a burning question, we will also offer something, but I'm sure there's something that you would like us to look at. So please, if you have a question that you think we should look at, you can write it in the chat or raise your hand and offer it to us. So I see Ernst is raising his hand. Please go ahead. What is your burning question here?
Thank you so much once again for the opportunity. Actually, I heard and I had the opportunity to hear the presentation yesterday and today also. And my burning question will be formulating approximately like this. Okay, actually applying the integral science and integral education towards the whole world, how we are able actually to bring the humanity with balance with nature. So the meaning of it, bring us from chaos to harmony, pretty much. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you so much for this question. So please, if you would allow yourself to write it down in our Zoom chat, so we want to collect it, we are able to read it. Thank you. And then we will see what else we have. So there's one burning question here. Who else? Dr. Angelov, you have a burning question for us. Please go ahead.
I do. How can we find hocus pocus to connect with the audience very quickly and from heart to heart?
Great. So we already see one heart here being shown. So great. If you would also write down your question, please, in our Zoom chat so we can keep collecting them. So we need one more burning question. After this, we will have a vote here which question we look at and find answers first. So who is the one offering the third question? Okay, so I see there is a written question here, and there's also okay, so let's hear our friend here to raise a question, and we also had it on the Zoom chat, please.
У меня возник вот такой вопрос. Все, что мы делаем, безусловно, мы это
I have a
делаем.
question. Everything we do for the future, for the whole humanity. But what we, as an institute, a big institute, can do for the society that we're in? Do we have the resources and the will to bring all of our members of our environment through these presentations? And how can we teach the people that are 6,000-8,000 people that are with us, that they can be educated on this and also will have a desire and a heart for this topic, so they would bring this topic to their families? Maybe we would start with a little and then move on.
Okay, thank you so much. Please also write your question down in our Zoom chat. So we want to collect them all. And I see we wanted to only have 3 questions. Now we are really creative here. Let's hear one more question here by Professor Tane.
Okay, I already wrote it in the chat. What is the secret key to provide the integral approach for the evolution of humanity via science and education?
Great. So I think we are all set here to go to vote. And how do we want to vote? Well, we heard this in so many presentations. We not only want to understand with the mind, we want to find our heart in this. So we are voting with our hearts. And how do we do that? We go to the reaction mode here to the button on the lower Zoom bar. There is reaction, you will see, and you can not only raise your hand, you can also show your heart as I'm doing it now. So that's the way we vote here with us. So you can share your heart to everyone. So you don't need to show it only once when we now vote. We just want to find what is the first question we want to look at. Okay, so I'm going to read it, and we will go like the way I can see it here in our Zoom chat. So the question Ernest was actually asking us, applying integral science and integral education, how can we bring humanity to balance from chaos to harmony? So if you would like to see that question that we wanted to look at this, please show your heart now. Applying integral science and integral education, how can we bring humanity to balance from chaos to harmony? Wow, I see lots of hearts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think one heart was already gone. 8. I think I counted 8 at least hearts. So that's a good take here already. So let's move on. Like, what else do we have? And there's a late heart here, like coming in also, though we want to count this too here. All hearts are included. So what is, that's the question of Professor Tane, what is the secret key to provide the integral approach for the evolution of humanity via science and education? Once again, more slowly, what is the secret key to provide integral approach for the evolution of humanity via science and education? Please show your hearts if you want to check out this question. And again, you don't need to be shy. You can show your heart whenever you feel like it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I believe, 7. Okay, so almost, but we will see. And there's another question by Dr. Angelov. I will read it here for us. How can we connect with public strong and quick? So that's the question here. How can we connect with the public strong and quick? So please, if you want to check out this question and find the answer for that, please show your hearts. I see 4 hearts. Great. So we have a little bit of 5 hearts. Okay. So I think what I saw, please tell me if I do my math right. I think that the question of Ernest was the song sweet. I don't see the question from our Russian friend being written down here. I'm sorry. So I hope we can include this as I don't see it. Let's start with the question that now was had the most hearts. So I believe this was the question of Ernest. Do you agree? So I don't want to be biased here. Okay, so yeah, I see nodding heads. Okay. Let's go for this. So now we go to the next level. We first found the question, we voted, now we want to find answers. What is your wisdom here? We want to collect all our wisdom that is coming from all over the world, from different places. The question is, applying integral science and integral education, how can we bring humanity to balance from chaos to harmony? When I read it again, till I do that, please raise your hand again so we can hear your wisdom, your insights. What's your take on that? So I'm reading it again. Applying integral science and integral education, how can we bring humanity to balance from chaos to harmony? What are your answers? What are your suggestions to go ahead with that question, please? I see a hand here by Dr. Pines. Please go ahead.
Well, it's interesting. I'll try to make it quick. I brought this up too. There's the chaos itself can be harmony. Chaos, in fact, may be the scientific idea, deterministic chaos. Okay, we take it out of the random, it turns out to be something, can be the source of integral communication. It's what it is in nature. We see it maybe with, as I said, quantum help behind it, and it gets deeper. But in the external, the simple model, we have this chaotic effect where it was discovered by I forget the name. There's an early researcher in 1982. He produced a paper, and for it's actually German Nature magazine. And
Mandelbrot.
Basically, I'm sorry?
Mandelbrot, probably.
No, not Mandelbrot was fractals. No, this was Robert Shaw. He's from UC Santa Cruz, one of the original in their nonlinear sciences, and it was a very brilliant, insightful paper, which the idea of the integral that chaos represents a communication from the micro to the macro, and that actually represented that from the system level, that the parts communicate with the whole, as if the whole becomes like a single entity, a center of this group, and they communicate with it, it communicates with them, and they communicate with each other. So part A and part B communicate, and part A and part B each communicate with part A and part B together as a whole. In the center, in that you are teaching the integral education. You're getting at that. So it's a valuable means of basically leading from this chaotic effect of things going random into it. But this is a proper, in other words, seeing in chaos, taking from chaos the nonlinearity into an integral mode with a desire to make this communication. That's where the secret lies. The details, that's what we're here to try to develop.
Exactly. Beautiful. Thank you, Dr. Pines. And here we have Dr. Angelov. Please go ahead. What's your insight?
So the answer wasn't a question. It's a connection between hearts to create the harmony.
To the point. Thank you, Dr. Angelov. So please go ahead, Professor Notkin.
Спасибо. Хаос, мы говорим о социальном обществе. Хаос в обществе — это конфликты, ссоры, обвинения друг друга, войны, которые мы наблюдаем. Это тот хаос, который может привести к разрушению
The
семьи.
society that we observe is the chaos and the harmony is a unity of opposites, because the world will always be multifaceted, many opinions, everybody is looking for their own truth. But if we can find the equilibrium and unity of opposites that everybody talks about, then we create harmony. It's not going to be one opinion, it's going to be different opinions combined into one.
Thank you. Thank you for this. And here we have our friend Otulian, and I believe you are translating, and so you need to change to the main room. Is that possible that you do that so we can hear your answer?
Okay, can you hear me? Thank you. Maybe this answer, Dr. Ang.
So we can only hear you in the English. So please, if you want to hear his question, please go to English channel on the globe. So that's easier now.
Okay.
Please go ahead.
Thank you. Only I speak to English or Turkish. I speak to English because I translate channel. Can you say the other people?
Yes.
Thank you. Maybe answer is Dr. Angel said this is a chess game, father and child, and we perspective to father side. But in the life, we child side, because very weakness or all of humanity, and life affect us. And maybe we try to find this solution. Life is teach us, and all of around we checkmate. Life came and checkmate us, and all of turn not achieved anything. But maybe we find the solution in this turn, because all of around give to new perspective to life and grow up, because we learn tactics and we learn to game and grow up with our father. Maybe we want to this father, and all of solution came. Where is this father? Where is this game? Thank you.
Thank you. So what I'm hearing as a suggestion by a friend, that he reminds us of the chess game that was introduced before, and that we should look at it like father and child, and we want to find the father. So we, as the child, want to learn how to play that chess game, to not land in a checkmate again and again. So this is the suggestion here from our friend. Thank you. Yasmin, please go ahead.
Thank you, and thank you, Ernest, for this wonderful question. So what I learned from this conference, and what I can say from all the presentations so far, is that I don't think that there can be such thing that we can bring humanity to this, but I think that each single one has the choice at some point to choose, is it better to be part of a greater whole and to integrate, or to remain disconnected and to choose what is the benefit now as a single one, to continue this way in the chaos, yes, or at some point to integrate and understand that all is part of a whole. And in this way of integration, I think we are bringing each one together. It is this coming together that leads the harmony, and yes, so this is, and thank you for the sharing.
Yeah, thank you for your sharing. Beautiful. So please, we move to our next friend here. Please go ahead. Professor Skocka-Skorty.
Обобщая весь прослушанный
To
материал,
summarize all of the material that I heard, it comes into one field. On the one hand, artificial intelligence that united or is uniting, is still in the process, all the egotistic thoughts and ideas, so the collective consciousness of our egotistical world, and we above us there's a collective consciousness of nature that's ideal, and these two opposites need to be combined. And how do we do that? Who can do it? I think in this conference we are creating a new thought, an integral thought, bringing up from the bottom up different problems, different thoughts that we see, and we're bringing them up to the creator or to nature to decide. Essentially, we need to bring back what was already in nature, in human, what nature put into human. So in that case, I think there's two main elements here. Those who can do it, and second, how to do it. So we should start working with these thoughts and these ideas that are collecting. And artificial intelligence is showing that there's no difference and everything's connected. The self is diluting and becoming less important because all the consciousness is coming into one collective consciousness. So it needs to be attached, and we can make these discussions. Constant talks talking about some problem in our society, in our environment, and we are those integrators that would unite, connect to this intellect of nature, and in there it's all going to be done for us. And we should bring to people, but there's few of us, but we cannot get to all the people, and maybe somebody who doesn't understand will laugh at us, but we need to start from our society, our environment, our society. Maybe connect more often to talk about different topics, specifically about the artificial intelligence and the consciousness of the nature. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And now we have another answer here. Please unmute yourself.
Да, спасибо большое. Очень сильно впечатлилась ответами.
Yes. Thank you. I'm impressed with all the answers, and I just thought we all are still in small little societies, collectives in Lithuania, Latvia, Russia, United States. I would like for you all to talk about this conference to your friends. Like I will definitely come to my friends and tell them about this conference and share my impressions, and maybe people will join, maybe people will come to us, maybe they will ask what we need from them, and this way we can broaden our society in numbers and quality, quantity, and that's going to be a great help and continuations of our conference. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I also want to honor that we had more questions here. I just want to read them. So I just read them. We won't have so much time to answer them, but I believe that we sometimes, when we take the questions and walk with them, keep walking with them, it also will guide us to answers as we keep walking in life. Yeah. So let's take the question also as a value itself. So what I hear and in our chat is, how can we teach artificial intelligence our intention to benefit people and not vice versa? So again, how can we teach artificial intelligence our intention to benefit people and not vice versa? So here we hear the topic of intention. I think it's crucial here for our work. And also, again, another question here was, how can we connect with public strongly and quick? And there was also the specifics about what is the secret key to provide the integral approach for the evolution of humanity via science and education. So we have different aspects here in being given as burning questions here. And also what our another question written down, how can we package the tools we learned in the sessions for effective consumption by the public? So some questions are related to each other, some are more unique. So let's take these questions and take a moment to actually apply what we heard in our conference. In our conference, basically all presenters, I heard them say we cannot only grasp the information with our mind, we also need to feel it in our hearts. So let's take a moment here to actually feel the information in our hearts and to let the vibration of our hearts be here, so that each of us feels the vibration of his and her heart. And when we allow that, how about feeling how our vibrating hearts are connecting? As if there was one heart in the center of our round table, connecting all our hearts. To find the vibration of a common heart. Role modeling what I believe we want humanity to land into, to find a common heart and to feel it. So I believe what we are doing here is trailblazing a new way of relating, digesting information and applying it, implementing it in everyday life, in our families, but also at work, in medicine, artificial intelligence. So let's take that with us, and I'm happy to slowly conclude here for our conference, giving a big thanks to all who contributed here, the presenters, first of all, and giving us such great inspiration here, all day long, like yesterday, today, yeah. So we take all that, and again, there is the chance, if you have more questions that you want to give to the presenters, please send them to our email that was shared also in the chat before, and so we can pass them on. And I'm also wanting to give thanks to all the friends who were contributing all, but I think the most important thing now is to hear from our director here, to have a concluding speech, to give us his conclusion, his heart, his thoughts about what did we actually experience from your point of view. Please go ahead, Dr. Ephraim Eliav.
Yes, thank you very much, Joachim. It was, before I will start my official talk, I would like really to thank you very much for your absolutely integrative, joyful, and professional work, making our conference simultaneously to be very deeply sensitive and intellectual, and also very entertaining. So you are really a gift for us, and we will be very happy if you will continue your work in our institute, in our community. So you are really very welcome. Now I would like just to share my screen and just make me just a moment. Yes. Screen. What's going on? Okay. So our conference is on its finalizing step. I would like to thank all our presenters. We have 10 outstanding presentations from countries all over the world: Turkey, Israel, United States, Russia, Ukraine, and Lithuania, from different continent. In our time, our countries are probably in different political regions and not being very peaceful with each other, but our conference just showed that nevertheless we can be integrative and we can share our deep feelings about our common future in a really very harmonious and peaceful form. And we have also two very exciting, meaningful roundtable sessions. Many of our participants participated in these sessions. I believe that we will put all outstanding talks and roundtable sessions video on our site. As well, we are planning to issue special proceedings of this conference. So please check our site and you will find all these materials there. And just briefly, all the presenters that you have listened in our conference, they are members of our institute, Ehud, so they are developing both scientific and integrative paradigm and education. And I would like to briefly mention what we have talked about. So we have talked that the fabric of our reality and its evolution in comprising biological life, consciousness, humanity, and civilization at all are interwoven, interdependent, and propelled by an intricate network of informational phenomena driven by desires. And the holistic and synergetic understanding of our reality through a collective level of consciousness is crucial for steering of our civilization towards harmony and peace. This understanding allows humanity to function as a unified superorganism. And the last point is that to realize this holistic perception of reality and forge synergetic connections among individuals, it is essential to develop innovative integrative educational practice and social management strategies in all areas, including medicine, economics, politics, technologies, and in particular AA branch and other branches as well. These strategies should promote unity and cooperation, propelling humanity towards new heights of collective consciousness and common existence. And I would like now to finalize my talk by just mention that our conference was done by really integral work by all our team, and our team that was preparing this conference was led by Jasmine. She is the head of our Swiss branch, and she was the head of the organizational committee of this conference. Her right hand was the head of the social media department, Katie. Marek was the head of the all technological services. Our broadcast team, it includes Ruslan, Pavel, and Victoria, while our translators, they it's really very, very important work. And we have here Sergey, Tommy, Alisa, Adomas, Larissa, Ertug, Grulhan, I'm sorry for probably misspelling, Orse, Elena, and Ergonat. And I would like to thank again our great moderator, Joachim. So our institute, Ehud, is welcome. Each and every person from our community who would like to share our great intentions in integral scientific form and in form of integral education. So thank you very much for being with us, and please be in contact. We will make our next conference after half a year or so. Thank you very much again. Please take care.